Ladies and gentlemen, the ugliness we see coming out from Ghana opened our eyes. If the people of Ghana are not extremely civilized, as a people, we would have incurred extremely high losses there. They could have started destroying Igbo property. Anyị fụrụ ụmụ anụ ọfịa ndị Naịjirịa ndị na-eje akwa ihe ọkụ n'ike ha chụọ ndị Igbo ndị Igbo ha gbufọrọ ndị ogbu mmadụ ndị Igbo ha enweghị ike igbu from 1966 to 1970 ha na-akwa ihe ọkụ n'ike si gbuo ndị Igbo ahụ bet ọkwefu ndị a niile ha ga-eri nsị a ha na-eprepa ha gbanahụ mmadụ ha ma gbanahụ Chineke. If the people of Ghana were not so civilized, they would have taken some drastic measures against the Igbo people. But fortunately, they are civilized, so they are following everything without violence. But it's a call to action for us. And as the number one historian of the Igbo people, I made up my mind to put everything on the table so that the Igbo people will even know who they are. As I have said repeatedly, most of our people, 99.9%, have no idea who they are. And because they don't know who they are, they get engaged in things, they engage in things that will bring problems. And I'm going to talk about how Nigerian people perceived the Igbo people so that you, the person that is listening, will draw your conclusions. After 1900, when Igbo land became largely uninhabitable, because of the tensions, because of the problems the British colonial authorities created there. You may have heard of some major spits of violences, major violent activities that were unleashed against the Igbos, like the war against the women that is mischievously called Aba Women's Riot, the coal miners' killings. Some Igbos that were mining coal in Igbo land, mining their coal for their British conquerors, asked for a raise less than 1 shilling. The British slaughtered them. These are the ones you heard. You didn't hear about how they threatened the high priest, the man that was essentially supposed to be the high priest of the nation of Israel. How they threatened him that if he did not stop preaching that abomination was wrong, that this is taboo, that is taboo, that his palace, not palace, that his house will be bombarded. Dear Henry, most Igbos don't know what I'm talking about. And dear Henry went back to his house, and the miscreants among the Igbos, those that became the court messengers and so on and so forth, they began to sin because there was nobody saying that if you violate the commandments of Chukwu, the land will vomit you. When the Igbos had to leave home because their land became uninhabitable and got to the extreme north of Nigeria, where you find that's the land of the Hausas, which the Fulanis had taken over and created the Emirates and Caliphates on. They asked for drinking water. In the Igbo language, it is nyamiri. Nyamiri, if you know ancient Hebrew, miri will resonate with you. Mayim. If you know ancient Hebrew, the word miri will resonate with you. Because as I have said repeatedly, Igbo is a dialect of that language that Moses spoke. Our people said nyamiri. Nyamiri became the name of the Igbo people in Hausa land. Nyamiri. The Igbos were called Nyamiri there. In the middle of Nigeria, where you find the most beautiful city in Nigeria called Jos. Its climate is the best in the world. That's the land of the Birom, the Anaguta, and many other ethnic groups. Our people settled. Our people settled and began to live their lives. The natives noticed something. To them, this ethnic group was eating grass. Members of this ethnic group were eating grass. They had no notion that people ate vegetables. They had no notion. So they called our people grass eaters. Beautiful people. They hurt us badly between 1966 and 1970, but if I'm to speak for the Igbo people, I will forgive them. They called us grass eaters because they saw us eating vegetables. They had no idea that human beings could eat grasses. That's what they saw vegetables as. When we got to the land of the Canaanites, that is the Yoruba, Nigeria's unit of currency then we were still using pounds, so I don't know what they used. But after Nigeria's unit of currency included a term called Kobo. You know what the Yorubas began to call Igbos? Kobo Kobo, that is money, money. They began to call the Igbos money, money. If you are conversant with Jewish history, that is the history of the Israelites that became the Jews, while the Europeans and the Arabs definitely did not love money less than the Jews, due to anti-Semitism, they labeled the Jews the people that love money. The Yorubas labeled the Igbos the same thing. They called the Igbos Kobo Kobo. You can take it to the bank that 99% of Nigerians do not know the origins of the term Jew man. While I was writing my doctoral dissertation, I discovered it. Nigerians also call the Igbos Jew man. As at the time that my generation was growing up, we thought that Jew man meant somebody who was not civilized, but it originated originally in a certain perception of the Igbos as the Jews. The Jews. I have said severally, I've seen some people who are watching the Igbos carefully, but the Igbos don't know that they are watching them carefully. From 1940 to 1970, one of the terms used to mock the Igbos was the Jews. You dirty Jews. Then nobody, apart from people who were really Jews, who were in most cases also hiding, who knew the risks attached to the Jewish identity. Many people knew it was risky from 1920 to 19 to now. It was risky to be called a Jew. The only people who were proud of it were, interestingly, the Igbos. Everywhere they went, they were mocked as Jews, but they said, we are the Jews. And Nigerians called the Igbos the dirty Jews. It is in the history books. The Nigerians complained that they were stopped from history, but when they were not even stopped, they were not reading the writings. Otherwise, they would have seen everything I'm talking about. Igbos were mocked as the Jews. Interestingly, the same people that mocked the Igbos as the Jews now join in saying that the Igbos had no connection to the Jews. You know why? The Ashkenazi Jews successfully returned themselves. And those of their brothers and sisters they recognized because of physical appearances. It's easier for the Ashkenazi to mistakenly believe that I'm not related to him because I have this kinky hair and my skin is darker. It's easier for him to see the Sephardi and the Mizrahi as his relations because they all have wavy hair and they're thinner nostrils. So they successfully relocated themselves to the land of Israel, worked very hard. I give them that. They worked extremely hard. The state became successful. And those people that mocked us as the Jews, the dirty Jews, are now denying that the Igbos came from Israel because they are afraid that if this truth becomes the dominant narrative, if the Jews take it serious and the Igbos take it serious, one day the Boeing 707s will land and the Igbos will enter and return to the land of their ancestors. So they are joining Igbos in denying. And as you know, genocide has harmed the Igbo peoples almost irreparably. So you have a class of people the Igbos call Efulefu, who became more Afrocentric than Afrocentrism. So they join in saying, no, we are superior to white people. We are superior to Jews. Jews are white. We are not part of them. We existed before Adam. Meanwhile, they cannot tell you where they buried their grandfathers. And they assume they had always been in Igbo land. Meanwhile, all the folklore of the Igbos talk about the tortoise, and the time there was no rain, which is conclusive evidence that the people lived at a place where the rains hardly fell. And if this doesn't satisfy you, Remy Ilona's DNA report is online. I have been Igbo, 100% Igbo, for over 1,000 years. The major component of my genes is Middle Eastern. And take it to the bank, the ancient Israelites more than likely look like me. Meanwhile, I'm not saying that Benjamin Netanyahu is also not Israelite because he's lighter complexion than me. He also is. But when I fled through, when Judah was falling and I went towards Egypt, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Ashkenazi, some of the Sephardi moved up while I moved down. And these movements have continued. Some of the Igbos were the groups, we are among the groups you call the Sephardim, who left Spain, Portugal, when Da Gama began to his voyages, Vasco da Gama. So Igbos, take note, continue to be watchful, continue to be vigilant. Anti-Semites are after you, but by God's grace, you will not come to harm again because God himself sees it. A good number of us gather every Saturday, defer only to Chukwu, the Lord God of Israel. We worship only him. We are living by the commandments, and we are calling our brothers and sisters to live by them. Shabbat Shalom.